two teams because they've both lost to the Flash Wolves. That's the thing. So they've both beaten the Flash Wolves in very long games and then lost to SK Telecom in very one-sided games. This is kind of the tiebreaker to decide which one's serious, who's going to have that first foot ahead, and which one is going to have to play catch-up.
That's right. Our final game of Group B. We just had one as well last time. So these final two games, rounding out our first week here of Group B, 1-1 for both C9 and IMA. Who's going to come away with a win? Kennen gets banned out as well, and that Varus ban at Athena.
Not really a surprise that IMA are focusing top lane bans, as Amazing J is the player they like to play around. I mentioned how, Jin Zhao was not their strongest player. They also don't want to play around him, right? Versus SKT in their last game, Jin Zhao literally did 13% of the team's damage, barely more than their support. This is a very Amazing J-centric team, and they're trying to ban and pick accordingly, trying to get him a good matchup, I believe.
And on the side of C9, Meteor's probably looking to set up Jensen, who has been the really big playmaker for them, at least previous to this tournament. Got bodied by Faker first time out, did his farm thing on Orianna versus Varus the next game. Let's see if they can actually get a decisive.
And Lee Sin still out.
I think a lot of people would prefer the Rek'Sai, but Cloud9 might just have worked out their issues with Lee Sin and go back to him. Regardless, Syndra is up. Syndra is picked. We'll see if either the Aurelion Sol or the Vladimir is Athena's choice to go into that, because both of those are still available.
There's the Voidless banning Zach here, saying, I don't want to see that Meteor Zach, just me.
I may have been a team that has been messing around with the Aurelion Sol in LBL despite it being a fringe pick there, so real chance of seeing it. Jin Zhao's best champion has been the Jin, and I can see that being locked in.
And I have to say, with the Rek'Sai as well, it looks like they're trying to nudge Meteos in that Lee Sin direction, but Olaf is still available. So regardless, he still has another option. If they pick it again, they are very confident, and they would have talked about and believe that they can work through these issues. I know that people, have been fairly critical of this pick, but Meteos, he has a lot of games on Lee Sin as well, and they have, it could just also be a hover. So we'll start talking about it until they actually lock it in.
Where's that full damage Nocturne?
This is that might be the most controversial hover that we've had.
I mean, worth knowing the summoner spell is Ghost, so maybe more to the Olaf you were speaking about than the Lee Sin, so a little bit of a spoiler in the summoner. No guarantee, of course, could still lock it in. And Lee Sin against Jin is a champion to both get the engage, get the big insect, and to interrupt.
He's got you now. It's cleansing night.
True. I got nothing now, Kobe.
That's a classic Evelyn.
No. It's going to be the Ezreal Rumble lock-in. A lot of damage being presented here by Cloud9. So it looks like they got the beef of the composition out on the board. What does I make an answer with?
These are very high priority champions down the list here for Cloud9, just as far as the world's meta has gone. Rumble, one of the top laners that we've seen, especially with Kennen being banned out. So that was one of the things we prefaced with the bans of IMA. I thought they would early round a top laner after banning so many of them, but the Rumble is picked up and they're already hovering. This is one of Amazing J's favorites. However, I don't feel like it's especially good into Rumble or especially deserving of these counter or the bans that they threw out early.
I mean, most played in summer also played it in their first game of the tournament. Only Echo players so far. Actually been no mid lane flex Echoes, only been the top Echo. No, not necessarily going to be locked in, but the Kennen is the winning matchup, and that's the one that's not available.
There is a lot to be said for that comfort factor, right? And that's specialization. People have put a ton of time into a particular champion. Will be very happy to take that and feel like they do have that edge. Extra edge, even over just the normal matchup where you would expect it to go.
Cloud9 answering. It seems that Meteos wanted to see a bit more of the composition as well before they rounded it out with the jungler. Lee Sin is still available on the board.
Yeah, he can definitely make plays on the on Jin in the backline, but Vladimir is not going to be an option. Echo's not an option. Rek'Sai can interrupt him. Rek'Sai does a lot of mean things to interrupt, if you unburrow as he's trying to pass over, you can really mess with a lot of those flashy plays. So this is the moment everyone's been waiting for to see how Cloud9 rounded out.
So why don't you pick something that can run over that? Why don't you pick it so you can run over it? It looks like they do. Olaf and Alistar locked in, a bit of a Bass Brothers composition that could be starting things off for Cloud9 when they cannot find the light in their plays. Road to lock in here. What will they decide with?
Also, you know, we kind of gloss over this Alistar pick from Smoothie because this has not been a Smoothie special.
No.
And they have definitely locked in some champions that makes it look like they really want to take a more proactive approach and try and get some numbers on the board in the early game, pre-15 minutes here for Cloud9.
The only offensive champion I can really associate with C9 is that Karma, you know, as the more offensive. So Karma, Tom Kench, and Braum have kind of been the staples of Smoothies. So something different, some strong engage. You can already see the combo into the equalizer potentially being big. And all we're looking for on the side of Aimee is a support pick. You mentioned that Tom Kench could actually be the selection for Aimee.
Yep. Gonna feel comfortable going into the Alistar.
Yeah, that's got to feel nice for Jinzhao. He gets a little more safety in that bot lane on any of the engages, and they can exhaust out that Syndra if they need to.
Exactly, you know, it negates so much of the early 15 that we were building up, the playmaking of Alistar and, you know, Olaf, strong early jungler, can spam that ghost, you know, really capitalizes on lanes with crowd control. Tom Kench, whoop, eats him up and saves whoever got picked out. So I really do like that drafting from Aimee. Good answer with their last pick. And that's why a lot of teams more and more over the past months have started to save their supports for counterpicking the enemy team rather than focusing so much on that lane.
Well, you know Jensen is stoked to finally have his hand on the Syndra. He was playing Syndra just as the playoffs started over in NA. A very good Syndra player. They love to funnel resources into Jensen. And if they get him a lead, he'll be the perfect man to carry Cloud9 forward.
He really does love playing his lanes aggressively. To do that, though, here at Worlds, you have to have your jungler on board. They have to be working in concert very, very closely because if a laner plays aggressively all by themselves at Worlds, they will get sent back to the fountain.
It's not much of a solo trip. We just saw Faker and not get the help from Blank, and if he just left out to dry there, it will be a problem for Jensen.
Very apt comparison because Faker also loves playing aggressively, just like Jensen.
Absolutely. Get loud on Twitter. Hashtag C9win. Hashtag IamWin for who you think is going to take this matchup. Our last match here of week 1 of groups. We have another one to go, and it's already been amazingly crazy. More words to describe this and that, but we're gonna get into game. We're about to be on the Rift. Cloud9 versus Aimee. And we're gonna see who can take the last victory of the first week of groups here at Worlds. Like Jet said, everybody's gotta win. It's been absolutely amazing. Who can put one more on the board?
Well, everybody has a loss.
That's true.
Way to be glass half full.
Lost. No, you're right. You're right.
Kobe.
Not everybody has to win.
The wrong word came out of my mouth. Thank you for the correction. Still, who will put a win on the board here? That one I'm sticking with.
Either Aimee or Cloud9. I'm sure of it. God. Also,
that's why you have that job and I have
we're
this.
watching League of Legends, Riv. Everybody's a winner. Yep, can we get more cheesy? All right, let's see. They fanned out defensive wards here from Aimee. Doesn't look like there's going to be any early action. And if we take the starting positions into account, it should be a topside start from both. So, you know, nothing really out of the ordinary. I am waiting for the day we get some variation in the Olaf starts because I really do feel like he's such a versatile jungler in the opening of the game, and everybody expects you to start on the blue so that you do get that flat cooldown reduction and the mana to be able to spam your axes. And playing off that expected behavior is one of my favorite parts about jungling and the mind games that go into it. So far, though, we will just have very, very standard starts for both teams.
You used the word expectation. You know, we talked about Impact up the top on his own being the pressure valve, drawing solo kills and also the solo deaths, like you could say. IM do actually path around Amazing J, so if they can get what is very much an interesting top lane carry duel between Amazing J and Impact actually rolling for Aimee, Impact just loses out and doesn't have any of that jungle pressure. Just in general, tracking Meteos this game will be interesting because Jensen will want to be aggressive, and we know Amazing J and Impact are going to be trading thick and fast early.
Good old D-man drawback. I love it. The thick and fast play. So we'll see 2 minutes in. Obviously not much. No crazy jungle paths. It is going to be this aggression in the mid lane we're keeping an eye on. And already a little bit of licking delivered here from Road onto Sneaky. He can't seem to get himself behind Smoothie, who's trying to grab that brush control. But with the ward, Road knows when he can get in and out of these little attacks.
Yeah, as we said, Olaf loves ganking early, and he loves ganking lanes that have their own crowd control. So that would be mid lane or bottom lane here for Cloud9, especially since it's a double melee matchup for the supports. Those guys are going to be trading very, very often. And if they do get locked up, it's very easy to collapse there in the long lane, spam the Ghost, and get some summoners out at least. Voidless gets the Scuttle Crab first, though, so extra vision going to help out there.
I like the little play by Road as well. Let's make sure we see it. Nobody's here. Take it safely. They are not leaving anything to chance in the early game.
And Meteos, he was in position, and people say, oh, there was no ward there. Why didn't he go for that? The support was missing, so
exactly.
You can't be sure as to what exactly they had just placed, and just the mere act of going into Fog of War does so much in the early game. That's why, as a support, if you're not trading, or if you're not, bringing presence through the lane around the CS, contesting CS for your opponent, being in Fog of War as much as possible to make the enemies guess when you're placing your trinket ward is very important.
This is a really interesting support battle in general, as Smoothie's pretty dependable laning support, loves to pick those Braums and to disengage. Fully engaged there. Road is very much the wild card support. He very much likes to get out of lane and make the plays like someone like Licrit does over on the side of Albus Nox. So the playmaking here from Road will be fun to track, even on kind of a more dependable laning pick like Tom Ken.
And they go on Road this time around. Smoothie does get some of the counter damage, but the minion wave is stacked too deep, so there's no way you're going to get a...
Voidless in a really nice spot.
That's exactly what you just said. Sorry, we can't leave these minions.
The other thing to notice is that Meteos up on the top side is taking away some small camps here from a Voidless. This is one of the things that Meteos practices most heavily. He studies the jungle paths of his opponents and looks to get those small advantages of the single small camps. He's actually been able to take the entire top side off of a Voidless, which is huge because that's what a Voidless assumed he could go back to and farm here, and Meteos has been able to eke out that small lead.
And he's looking for the full path too, wasting even more time. However, Meteos is also on a ward here, so they have to be careful.
Yeah. Again, this sort of pathing is very reminiscent of Nidalee, who I really likened Olaf to, because this is how you can play. Stopping the enemy, stopping a recall even.
Yep, good recall cancels there, because Meteos got 2 for 1. He stopped the Voidless. Here comes Smoothie.
Oh, I don't know if Voidless wanted to join this party. Amazing, one more hit. Reckless swings from Meteos, and they're able to take him down.
Plus, the liberty you have when you have an Ezreal can enter lane, farm from range. Really nice roam from Smoothie. We haven't seen this from Smoothie this tournament, and on point for Cloud9.
Yeah, he's on the Alistar. He goes for the early roam. You would expect Road to be the first one going for that. If you watch IMA games, he's out of the lane as soon as he can get, but Smoothie beats him to the punch. Meteos had already counter jungled, plus he was in the area, stops the back. Very good early play from Cloud9. And remember, that was Cloud9's first kill pre-15 minutes of the tournament.
There you go. Level 5, looking at 75% here for Jensen on that level bar. His purple bar under the champion sign. He just hit 6. Athena's going to have to play very careful, but he can also get himself into pool, so not that scary.
That is one of those blocker picks to Syndra. Now, it's not a winning matchup, but it just itemizes so naturally into Spirit Visage. You're basically hoping that you can farm through, and the killing of the Vladimir, again, that killing blow is very difficult. All is available, so in general, just trying to stifle the Syndra in mid.
Now, what you got to watch is Jensen, he's playing very far up, and what you want to do is try and, deny that laner some CS, but what you have to do is what SKT did when they had Bengi in and get the extra vision, because Jensen...
He just ulted, threw his ult out. That was pulled out by Athena, but he gets the flash. If he had gone down after flashing the C9 symbol,
got himself out of it, but that's the type of situation that we talk about, where as a mid laner, they want to play aggressive, right? But you're going to have some backup here. Meteos now comes in, clears out the vision, and he's going to try and lay down the wards here for Jensen. There's the pink ward.
Worth knowing the damage is done, though. Jensen used both summoners and Vlad only had to pull an ultimate, which will be back very shortly. So a wraparound gank from a Voidless who's been praised as this intelligent pathing jungler. It's going to be super effective against the Syndra.
Exactly, which means that vision around Min doubles in importance, because Jensen is a very, very good target right now for IMA and for a Voidless. Right now, he actually doesn't have very complete vision, just the one in the Raptors and the bottom side of the Rift. So maybe he'll temper his aggression, should play a little bit more defensively until he either gets Meteos back up there or is going to have a bit more confidence because of Woodless is spotted on the map elsewhere.
Great wards around Dragon. Could allow C9 to play pretty aggressive here. It's going to be a nice flash from Road as well. True Shot Barrage. Pass it on by.
Jensen has bought his own pink ward as well, but Meteos knows he has no flash. That,
All right, sending a message. Sending a message.
Not quite sure what the message read, but it was sent.
I mean, Meteos picked up on the messages from the casters, from the fans. He knows the criticism's out there, so you feel that pressure on the world stage to make plays. Team's 1-1, but it's been him that's been criticized, not his team. The focus has been on Meteos, so that's why you look for those plays. He had the level 6 advantage, but this time it goes wide.
Yeah.
And honestly, he does deserve credit for the early pathing, you know, getting the extra camp lead and then the successful move up topside. Let's see what he does with the first blood, though, because Olaf can snowball very effectively. We talk about the early purchase of cooldown boots all the time. At the moment, though, Voidless has double wards outside Drake Pit, and it would take some good game sense for Meteos to actually think that he's taking this Drake. Bottom lane pushes up. There's no bottom lane from Cloud9. Good take there from Aimee.
Nice job as well by Aimee, avoiding all of the wards we just saw by C9 in the bot lane. Put theirs up, get a bit of breathing room, and take the dragon out as well.
Amazing J is level 6 this time, so if Smoothie was to enter top, a lot harder to pick up those turret dives without another damage source than just the Rumble.
Yep.
You can see the research, though, from Cloud9. You know, they know that Aimee like to play around Amazing J. That's another trip up top for Smoothie on the Alistar. This one doesn't get anything. But let's see what this Tahm Kench actually does as well, as they're going towards mid.
Jensen throws the ball behind, maybe both trying to bait each other into a fight. Athena, Jensen in the brush. Athena's gonna have vision overall in this one, and the curtain call is left, right, and not center at all. They missed the shots, and Meteos is gonna be there to help Jensen out safely.
Jensen known in the North American LCS for his skill shot dodging, and there it was crucial. If one of those had landed, it would have meant his death, but Jensen gets himself out of another sticky situation.
On the other side of things, Jinzhao dodges lane, loses a couple of minion waves looking for the kill. One shot would have been the slow and probably could have been the follow-up damage from the Vladimir, but losing out on CS selfishly and not picking up a kill is a heavy cost.
Ooh, Impact actually using a lot of abilities here mid lane. Avoid this is going to be on him. Flash used. Do they have the damage here? Impact uses his just after. Avoid around. Very low. This is going to be a kill for Impact. Looking for number 2. The 2v1 is won.
Top die, jungle die. Impact gets the turnaround, and look at Avoidless shows top. Meteos is in his jungle, stealing away his camps.
And Impact does it his own way. 1v2. Jungler not even on his side of the map. This is what this player has contributed to Cloud9. Rush had to go out of the team, but Impact took them to Worlds, and he wants to get them out of groups as well.
Absolutely true.
C9, they know it. Also, you can tell the focus in-game. Smoothie's up there twice. Meteos is up there in the early game.
See this again.
Impact abuses it. He's got a 30 CS lead on top of it.
What this reminds me of, Kobe, reminds me of PDD casually at All-Stars turning around with a massive Rumble play. Avoidless got too cute in this situation until the extra turret shot went down just to the burn, and Amazing J doesn't seem to be tracking his ult very well because he goes into turret range himself.
Right. Definitely a mistake there from Aimee, but how many times have we spoken of the cautionary tale of ganking Rumble post level 6, right? Riv laughs because we mention it all the time of the possibilities of those double kills. Impact makes it a reality, though. Down bottom, Avoidless wants to answer.
Still good to see that Aimee wants to put their foot down. They're not deterred here or tempered at all from trying another engage. It looks like they will ward up the bottom side. They have the wards behind Dragon, but all the fights in front. And Scuttle's going to help them reposition. Call Cloud9 off. Just a push in mid from Athena right now. 93 to Jensen's 123, though. So definitely a lot of power coming from Jensen.
All right, so I really like to put myself in the shoes of the underdog right now, right? We turn this game from Aimee's side. They've got losing solo lanes. They've been losing jungle pressure. Avoidless is trying to catch up because both the solo lanes are going down. Now the bottom lane actually going down.
Even with all those wards, C9 still tries to power through. It's going to be Road. Exhaust is there, but it's not going to be enough on Meteos. And it's Sneaky that picks up the kill.
That was going to be the player I was going to point to pull off a cross-mat play to try and get Aimee back into it, but he goes down, and that's going to be first turret for Cloud9 as well.
The lead is even bigger, Kobe. You look at top lane, it was 2 levels, now just 1, but at least 1.5 levels between Impact and Amazing J, not even speaking about the CS advantage and gold lead from the 2 kills. So we looked at Amazing J to be the one, perhaps to be passed around by his jungler. In fact, his jungler has done the opposite. He's actually put him in an even bigger hole than he already was. Meanwhile, farm time's in mid.
See if they put more pressure here. Usually once Impact gets that, you're talking about top lane, gets a little bit of love for Meteos, it's just Impact going off after that. He almost says, I don't really want any other things happening in my lane. I'll handle it. So you see Meteos now towards that bottom side of the map, clearing up the wards, ganking again towards Jin Zhao and Road. And it looks like they're gonna stay down here and make sure Aimee can't set these wards up, which are actually happening right now.
Yeah, that bottom lane play that Cloud9 just pulled off means that now Aimee, they need to go into defensive mode because defensive warding and playing around your turrets can get you some comeback kills. If Cloud9, play too aggressively and go for one of those dives, Aimee look like they really need to turn a mistake around in order to turn this mid game back in their favor because Cloud9 are jumping out to a very big early lead here.
Really hard to see how they're going to do it, though, Kobe. Same with you, Riv. I just don't really see how Aimee can find the map pressure when so many individual lanes are losing. And then the jungle matchup, if Olaf finds Rek'Sai in a long enough space, he also has the ability to take down the Rek'Sai solo.
That's why they have to go into defensive mode and look for the unforced error.
Looks like they can't control the resource at this point, even with the wards. Bottom turret being down. Cloud9 is working the inside of the jungle so nicely here, knowing there's no protection for Aimee until the second tier turret. This means that mid lane is going to start getting pushed in as well, and they have to be a little cautious with the Void Rush.
I think they're also going to have to give up this dragon. This should be Cloud9's Drake 100%. You see them doing laying the groundwork right now. These wards, this invade on blue quadrant right now, this is all setting up for the Infernal Drake. And they get the Gromp at least. Aimee get a little bit of their jungle back. But yeah, Cloud9, this should 100% be their Drake, and Infernal is going to be a big one for them. The best snowballing Drake, perfect spawn for them.
They're pinging the ward in Tribrush, saying, yeah, there's a ward if you need it, but I don't think we're going to need a teleport just yet. A flash out of a Voidless. That kind of hurts his engagement.
Impact's coming in as well.
Smoothie forced to throw on the ult, but Meteos says, I'll tank it, don't worry.
Impact teleports in. He's got his ultimate available. He lands the slow.
Ooh, the red carpet laid out for Road. They should be able to get out of this pretty nicely. Flash forward from Impact. Another 2 kills as Impact starts popping off.
That's why you need to focus the top lane for Cloud9. They got Impact ahead, and he is taking over.
They did focus the top lane, Kobe. It didn't go so well for them. SKT now C9 Impact really setting up and just putting Aimee further and further into the ground, only just taking the turrets, mid and top lane turret. That would be basically the god tier first 20 minutes for Cloud9.
And the picks coming in had to ease Cloud9's mind. Jensen getting Syndra. That means Meteos, if he does have to go on this Olaf, is going to have a push mid lane. He can go ahead and have a foray in the jungle with a Voidless if he wants. And that's pretty much what happened all game. We'll see this from the teleport one more time.
I mean, you see the start of this, okay, I guess he wasted the teleport. It's not needed. They already got the objective. The kill onto Road was almost an inevitability, just how much damage, but that's the full value out of the Ezreal ultimate, and then what a snowboard rumble can do.
Jin Zhao had flash also actually on that Jin, I believe. Decided to go down with his lane mate.
I also don't think, it kind of all happened in succession.
He still has flash, but I don't know if that'll...
Up back to the Tribrush, does it happen?
Road is here.
Can't get in his belly, but you can definitely help him fight now.
Back up.
Double.
Impact's right above that 50% gauge. He's going to be doing some good damage if he does decide to turn around, but it looks like he saves the sums and saves that. Oh, he doesn't have any summoners, so he just goes down.
Yeah, good turnaround kill there for Aimee. I mean, Impact had a bunch of the kills on him, and now they've got some time with the turret as well. I don't know if they, they don't have any deep vision, so if they choose to stay here and try and burn the turret down, it's a risky call, and it means that they feel like they have a lot of ground to make up. They've called a Voidless down to try and help out with it.
It's not taking that much damage, so they are going to have a bit they're actually going to have to back off here for this wave as they don't know where Jensen is. So that denial of vision actually scares them off, and they are able to hold bot turret here. So C9 still with the first turret on the board and choice of where to go next.
Sneaky rotated top, couldn't get the turret either, but so just a kill. No answering objectives either way, so IMA will take that given how the game has opened up.
Yeah, Impact still with a very big pressure lead over Amazing J.
Oh, yeah.
There is no teleport for Impact though, so Amazing J might have the option, you know, of trying to turn the numbers around on the other side of the map. Cloud9 need to be cognizant of this fact that Impact, the one with a lot of their kills, cannot join the fight. At the moment, he's up top, pushing that wave in. So the rest of the team should play accordingly, apply pressure, but be very willing to back off if 5 members of IMA commit.
On a simple level, a lot of the gold lead is in the pocket of Impact. So if we fight 4v4, the game is deceptively closer than the otherwise indicators we have available to us might suggest.
See what the next decision here is for Cloud9 or even for IMA. Maybe they are the ones to make the first move as Cloud9 over pressures possibly on mid. The numbers aren't really there, and it seems like C9 is just able to group up and collapse that much faster. Amazing J and Smoothie are going to meet for a little walk on the side here. I don't know if this is the full engage as C9 is just posturing to say we can win this fight if you really want to.
Definitely some big improvements from Cloud9 from the beginning of the groups into this game. They're staying at the objective here. They want to continue to use the bottom lane pressure to whittle down this middle turret. Once this turret is open, they can then flood into the jungle to get those wards down and really cut off IMA from their source of income.
Impact could guarantee this just by throwing down the equalizer. He's so far ahead that he would chunk out 2 members with just 1 ability. But they're holding it just in case there is an attempted engage from IMA.
Oh, it's going to be on to Smoothie. He's pretty much the main focus now. Road eating up Voidless, keeps him safe. It's going to be Amazing J going down first. He chrono breaks back and flashes out to get the safety. A lot of chaos here. They're going to have to refocus to get back into this fight as, yeah, Athena almost picking up a kill as everybody's trying to flash in, be the next surprise attack. But now everybody's in the middle of the fight, and it looks like they're going to back off.
Oof, very intense fight there. A lot of summoners used, but Cloud9 can just go back to base and heal at the fountain because Impact is the only top laner left up here. I don't know if Amazing J's gonna try and get back. Let me see what the top turret health is actually. Impact can push the wave. Nah, it's far off.
Over half, yeah. He will back as well.
First proactive move from C9 that didn't net them a big objective. They have to back away at this point. They will recall. Items starting to come in for IMA. Remember that fight was with Athena still very much in the tank phase, with the Spirit Visage and a bit of ace.
Absolutely.
Honestly, that proactive move from Cloud9 did earn them most of an objective. 90% of that turret. That turret is very low now, so I feel like going back to that same objective and finishing the job will set them up very well for this next Drake. 17 seconds on the Ocean Drake. They've already started to put more of those wards up. Impact does have his teleport, so if they just knock down that turret first, then they can retreat into that river and try and draw IMA into the river fight now that everybody's summoners are down.
Yeah, and there's the focus you're talking about. We can see Smoothie, the rest of the team making their way down to the bot side of the map to set up the wards. Sneak is going to be on push duty, as usual, for the wave. And they'll just make sure they have everything necessary to take that down. Giving up a bit of the top side, but like you said, this should all, maybe not, should all result in a positive for C9.
My blue.
I only wonder in the late game, guys, just thinking about if IM can stabilize, that someone like the Vlad and Magic was just stacking is so valuable against the lineup from C9. Amazing J.
Oh.
Should be able to get out.
Scrap shield. I thought he might put himself back in range. Aggression in the top side means Amazing J's not there to help. TPs are up, but no one goes, and Dragon's taken.
Spam pings here from Cloud9 on that mid turret right after the Dragon, and they might go for the dive. This turret's very low, and Jin Zhao is looking juicy.
Impact's got to be calling that top from it's back from Amazing J, who teleports second tier mid lane. Just the pressure scares that out of him. That's actually very big for C9.
Yeah, couple of flashes out there, or actually flash and teleport from IMA. Cloud9 do get the objective. Good flash from Road, though. Able to eat up Jin Zhao and then flash, expecting the headbutt, so he gets punted to safety rather than going down with the ship.
Gold lead's there. Again, I just have those small queries, specifically Vladimir here at 4-5 items. Not really any answer on C9's side. Only real hard lockdown is the headbutt pulverized that has much higher targets or higher value targets for the LCS to be facing. A champion like Braum can really work very well against a Vladimir team fight-wise from support, but I just feel like there might be an item threshold for IMA where 5v5 team fighting is going to be very execution heavy for C9.
We've already seen kind of a scatter in these fights. C9 not finding that priority target or it getting away with low health and IMA trying to get back in. So I expect those fights to continue throughout this game. It's going to be fantastic. Coming up on 23 minutes. Like you said, though, C9 with that lead as they look for Amazing J.
Yep, they've got 4 people up here, so Amazing J gonna have to pull some fancy magic to get out of here. Just a passive proc, actually. Not so fancy after all.
Pulls it right out of the hat. Turret's still gonna go down. It's about the pressure that C9's creating around the map. And Amazing J looks like he'll try to stay as much as possible here. The team's not gonna lose too much more, but IMA always seems to be a few seconds behind these movements of Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 have the big gold lead, so IMA cannot have the even numbers, even round fight. They have to either prey on a mistake from Cloud9 or use the Fog of War to try and get an advantage that way. Meanwhile, Cloud9 continue to slowly knock down more objectives.
Haven't managed to push that vision so far into the red side jungle, though. That's where they were playing around. Of course, they got the turret, so it's fine to back away. But for now, it's been ordered. It's been, this is what we want. This is how we set up for it. This is what we're taking. And that's exactly the sign of a strong team that C9 is aspiring to be. So we can't really fault them until there is a gap in that play. It's been 25 minutes of solid play from C9.
IMA still with that potential to get a good curtain call, get a pick out, as well as get the team to scatter with a nice Hemo Plague from Athena. It's all about getting the minds of C9 right now for IMA, because it's definitely not going to happen off of items purchased. Just too much in the lead and always able to attack. IMA is always walking around with about 75% HP before these engages happen. 4K gold lead right now and 0 turrets in favor of IMA, which means C9 has just about the other side of the map and theirs to work with now.
Given how the game's gone, you have to commend IMA for picking up as much CS they had. There's no big CS holes to really ruminate on. Only in the mid lane again. Except 40, which I guess is finally getting to that point at 25 minutes. But just given how dominant C9 have been, it feels like there should be advantages in multiple lanes.
The next step in, trying to push those advantages would be moving up in between the lanes into the jungle. If you have vision in the jungle between those lanes, then it makes IMA take the longer route when they're transitioning between those creep waves to try and farm. And that's where Cloud9 can eke out those extra advantages. They also get the gold income from IMA's jungle, so they increase the gold lead that way. As of right now, you can tell Cloud9 want to play around this Baron. They move 2 of their pink wards up. They're trying to take over the red quadrant of the jungle, focus on the top and middle turret as the next ones. But here comes the teleport. Whoa, if Voidless gets chunked out, they got to abort that
at the same time. Yeah, Amazing J is coming in a little far behind. Impact's going to try to rout him immediately, and Amazing J says, I don't really want any of this. They're fighting over a lot of vision near that Raptor brush. Nothing's going to come of this fight just yet, but both teleports used and all summoners still up for engaging.
Guess you'll take that if you're IMA. You're swapping teleports with Impact, who of course still has that lead over his direct opponent. Was matched, so at least no global advantage for C9. Every time you see Vladimir delete a minion wave, you start to wonder about where this game may go if it continues to be dragged on.
Definitely something to keep in mind, but Cloud9 are doing what we just talked about. They set up the vision in between top and mid lane, and they've been trying to camp there. IMA able to work around, grab the minions though, and Cloud9 actually give up on their red quadrant outpost here and go back to purchase.
Second locket now coming in for Road. Looks like they really want to get some of these shields down, even if there's a bit of diminishing return on that. But they want to stay alive. Impact's doing so much. Jensen is zeroing people out. It's one of those games where you almost have to dodge all the ults to be able to use yours.
It's a little bit surprising that Sneaky's gone for the higher damage choice with the Ezra's gone for the Trinity Force rather than the Iceborne Gauntlet for another latent CC to potentially slow down the double melee in terms of Amazing J and a Voidless, and also Vladimir, because we already commented on the lack of lockdown. Iceborne Gauntlet's only a little bit of that, but damage there, the control is not.
Road getting chunked out a little bit in his own jungle, and actually everybody converging here into the scrap.
Road may have to use that thick skin soon. Pops it. Curtain call is up. That's going to be a flash from Smoothie. His ult is down, so Alistar definitely capable of being taken down now by Aimee as Jensen starts to come back in, finds Amazing J. Chrono break back. He's right onto Smoothie, but the headbutt away to save himself. Dodges the deadly flourish as well, and Smoothie is back and forth to the blue suede shoes. Amazing J, they lay out the red carpet and welcome him to the death. 45 seconds on the clock. That should mean the second inner tier turret is Jensen. Starts to put up a wall of defense. Scatter the weak, and he almost takes another one out. Bleeding and walking away as Jin Zhao and Road, as it's not good here for Aimee, but Athena still trying to stand tall at the turret.
Athena was out of position the whole time, though, guys. He didn't manage to find it. Only ended up ulting to dissuade Jin Zhao from going down. The collapse was better from C9, but only a single kill to show for it.
Man, that was actually pretty touch and go inside the jungle. Sneaky was screening Athena out of the fight by firing Mystic shots and trying to zone him away from the team, barely allowing Meteos and the rest of the crew to escape. Here's actually the chase down after that, though. This is the comboed stun and ultimate from the solo laners of Cloud9. Nice accuracy there. Sneaky jumps forward to pick up the kill as well, so they get it on their AD carry.
Much stuff from Jensen to pick up the only kill. Looked like it was going to go killless despite all the trading. C9 continue to push up. They've lost that vision around the red side jungle, so Baron once again goes to become a pretty hard objective to crack, but otherwise, C9 looking good.
I love the way Jensen plays that Syndra. Always in front of the turret, trying to find a little more aggro. The rest of the team find an aggro as well. Road, it doesn't seem like he can swim away from this one. Asks to flash his way out. That'll be something they can continue to work on. The quick, thick skin.
That's going to lose them a decent amount of pressure, though, because Cloud9 have a huge wave top, and they're running straight up mid lane at the same time.
Not a lot of mana on Meteos. So they decide to hang for just a second on that engage, but like you said, the pressure might just overflow here in the mid lane.
The turret should go down because they've sent Jin Zhao, the AD carry for Aimee, up top to deal with the wave, and C9 are going to dive.
Pushing back Voidless, he tries to flash out of this fight. Parallel Convergence actually locks up Smoothie nicely, but he already has the Unbreakable Will on, and that will be a Voidless going down as he cannot flash away from the danger. They're making sure that the priority targets aren't ones that can get away in these fights, and they are choosing very well. They might just choose the turret to be their next target if Athena's not in range. Coming up from the pool, he stays alive. Amazing J alive on the outside, but everyone is limping away, including C9 here. Jin Zhao picks up a kill there with one of his last bouncing shots. And it is so back and forth. C9 are actually leaving quite a bit to chance in these fights, but still coming out on top. There's another part of that chance. Who's gonna go down? And good night, Amazing J.
CC Bot never left up onto Amazing J. Didn't have his ult available, and for the world's most aggressive teleport as Jin Zhao casually sidesteps the Ezreal ultimate. Unnecessary stuff from Amazing J. A little bit undisciplined too, and keeps up that pressure as the crowd finds their voice.
Yeah, Cloud9 just send him back to the fountain where he came from. Wow.
This is great from Smoothie though, because consider this is when Jin Zhao is picking up 3 group minion waves in top. He's even out of ult range, so for now, no damage from the AD carry.
Exactly. We talked about the importance of setting up that big wave top for Cloud9. They got the 5 versus 4 advantage.
Yeah.
Pretty scrappy kill, honestly, for them to still get it and get out here. Here's where the chaos does ensue, though. They go for the Vladimir, he pools, and they're tanking turret on the way out. Good snare there from Jin Zhao. He's got the red buff as well to pick up the kill onto Impact. And Amazing J goes for the 1 versus 4.
Feeling good. So many things are playing out in your head when you're teleporting in, and then poof, they go away.
You have to wonder about the communication. Sure, if Road was another screen ahead and could just the Tahm Kench devour and take him out, you could understand it, but the coordination not there for Aimee.
Remember, Aimee is the team that has to work on the most different languages. They've got the 3 languages the various speakers have, and the coordination is always something that you point to when we see this team play. They are one of the hardest working teams, but it's not paying off for them here as Amazing J on that solo mission. Cloud9 deliver him some justice.
I also may not get another chance to see Cloud9 limping around like that on the Rift with how much of a lead they've gained now. Just 4,000, but the dominance of the map means you can see initiations like Smoothie running around from the backside. These outer turrets still up almost prove worse because it allows IMA to be engaged on outside their base. Now push back to the steps in that mid lane. Looks like Cloud9 is going to start stretching them thin across the map.
Oh, yeah, they got their eyes here on Amazing J once again. He does have ultimate this time, and so they're just going to poke him a little.
Just some love taps. They should be able to find another fight at the turret if IMA are going to take it. Gonna be very careful. Got some level 16 ultimates on the side of C9, but not on the side of IMA, which means a very big power difference. And there's just the start of it. Athena trying to get in with the Tides of Blood, gets knocked off on there. The curtain call is coming through, but there's really no programs to be delivered from IMA. Nobody's watching the show. They are just going right back for the fight. Could be Amazing J getting a kill. This might be that one time where IMA finds a chance once again. Smoothie flies into the front. They're dropping on both sides like flies, but it may be IMA that's dropping faster. C9 sneaky, going in for some more shots, but the skills are still being dodged. And it looks like they come away with the turret after a very scrappy fight.
Yeah, very close escape there for the last couple members of IMA as Cloud9 go deep. Cloud9 still took down that turret though. All right, let's take a look at this again. It actually is a couple of good snares. Impact goes under turret range again, and Jin Zhao is able to snare him deep. But here we go. Meteos goes for the dive. He's the one tanking. This is where it switches over to Impact, though. And he's got the snare from Jin Zhao. Does Zanya's this time, but there's nothing to let him get out of this. Amazing J lands a stun.
Smoothie spent a lot of this time trying to consider flashing over the big wall next to this inner turret, going for an engage. Couldn't find it right to the end. As you say, the objective is the small advantage. Could have been more, but split between two decisions and ends up fairly even, all things considered.
All right, Drake coming up again. It is just an Ocean Drake, but that will be one extra one to tag on when the Elder Dragon does spawn. So Cloud9 will probably pick that one up. They have complete vision control right now. The map is basically theirs to work with, so they can take... Oh, never mind. They can just take Athena.
Doesn't even have time to pool, and we are near 60 seconds on these timers. If they go down to the game, 35 minutes in, and Cloud9 is getting everything they want with these little picks.
Yeah, Athena was subbed in for Bamey for this game, and
yeah, that's right.
Really has been a bit of a passenger. First death, but has just been farming, has been out of position, hasn't been the initiator that we know Vladimir's can be. And with that pick, C9 looked to Baron.
Yep, they've cleared out all the vision inside. Zoning here from Smoothie. Road is in there, but that's about it. So they get the Baron, and now they're on the chase.
It was a short chase.
Short chase.
Very short chase.
I was waiting. I was like, he's gonna get him.
I mean, remember how important this game is for the group, though. SKT just lost to Flash Wolves. This is no longer the group with an undefeated team either.
Right.
And both IMA and Cloud9 were looking to improve after the first couple of days of Worlds. And these are very important improvements that we've seen in Cloud9 in this game. The proactive play, smoothly with some very cohesive roams combined with Meteos' jungling on the top side, and the top lane focus really paying off for them.
It's just so weird to work out the storyline of just individual teams at this Worlds. Cloud9 were destroyed by SK Telecom. First game out had a fiesta against Flash Wolves that went really long. Flash Wolves were kind of the ones that were really under the microscope there. Then have now played methodical and smart in great spades for 36 minutes against IMA. So if someone asks you to summarize where Cloud9's at, or really any of the 16 teams at Worlds, as we come up to the final game of the tournament.
Flip a coin.
I mean, the analysts, I think, are all kind of holding their hands up in the air because there's been patches of brilliance and patches of just weird play across the board.
Definitely the theme. Huge variance this Worlds. What we can say for sure, though, is that we are almost at the end of week 1 of groups, halfway through, as Cloud9 with the Baron buff outside, knocking on the doors of IMA's base.
That's good, because I don't think my brain can explode anymore from this week. It needs to be prepared before we get into next week group games. 37 minutes on this one as we're getting up there in the time for our, they're kind of about average games for Worlds. 12-5, but like you said, Kobe, Cloud9 looking to put the final touches on this game as they approach breaking down the first inhibitor turret. It will be on this wave. They will look for the inhibitor next. Is Jensen getting the cavalry ready behind him to throw forward, and the rest of the team ready to engage. IMA knows it, and they have to let this go.
Objective gotten. They're able to back away very comfortably. Complete map control, full court press, like how I like to call it in these games. There's just really nowhere for IMA to go. If they go and meet any of these minion waves, they'll be horribly overextended on the map.
Yeah, exactly. We do talk about how much crazy stuff has happened, but this almost feels like one of the most calm late games that we've had because Cloud9 have had such a solid hold on this mid and late game. They've got 4 of the Drakes, the big gold lead, inhibitor already down, and they're working slowly towards the next one.
Seems crazy, but we've actually seen just about the same fight. Cloud9 going low, getting a few kills, coming back and doing it again, rinse and repeat, and here they're inside the base.
Big equalizer.
From the mid lane. Ragnarok on for Meteos as he goes through with the undertows, trying to slow for everyone to follow up. A little damage on the inhibitor, but a lot of damage focused onto IMA as they start going for the kills. Nobody down just yet. Avoidless back to the base to try and get himself healthy, and Cloud9 are looking for the win.
5 members up, they could try and force something.
Few more scatter the weak outside. Jensen keeps them at bay. Here goes the go for broke from IMA. One down as a Voidless falls. They are going to lose Smoothie here, but it may not be one they need to keep as the fight goes on. The damage is on to the champions, not the Nexus turret, which is getting a little hairy for Cloud9, but they will turn their focus to the Nexus. They will turn their focus to a win. And they will go 2-1 in the group stage in week 1.
Only the head-to-head between SKT and C9 stops C9 from topping the group to end the week. It's been a great trail of comebacks for Cloud9, again, after being blown away by SK Telecom. And in this group and in so many others, we all left to wonder what bounties we have left for next week, because it's been a crazy first week of Worlds.
It's been absolutely ridiculous. Picks we thought we wouldn't see, but then picked by more. So getting a little bit more play in the Alistar, the Lee Sin, a few others. Looking at this game, definitely I think something happened there in picks and bans. That Zac could have been a Syndra in that last ban for IMA.
Definitely true. Pick ban has been extremely important here in the first week of Worlds. I have to say, though, that definitely the most impressive game from Cloud9. The marked improvements are what matters for heading into week 2, because so much movement can happen. We're only halfway through. Cloud9 definitely looking much better, though.
Meteos stepping it up in the early game. We talked about the fact that the team had not had a single kill or assist put together in the first 15 minutes of the first 2 games, but much more on board. Went to the Olaf, one of those Meteos picks that he loves to play in solo queue, executed well, had eyes on the Rex side throughout the majority of the game, and did his job.
And noticing as well the kind of the story of Worlds, needing to engage at a certain point. Smoothie going on to that Alistar. Like you said, not something we really see all that much in his wheelhouse of something he's going to bring to the table. But necessary, and they identified that. So Cloud9 coming up very strong in that one. As well, NA's got to be pretty happy. But looking at how everything is going, you have no idea how the rest of this is going to turn out.
Definitely more upsets could be on the horizon.
Definitely, I'm going to say yes. Absolutely.
I have to say, though, the top focus, very clear from Cloud9. That was pretty much the biggest change for me. They had a clear game plan, and you could tell what it was. They focused it in Champion Select. Then, right in the opening moments of the game, Meteos is up there, gains control of the jungle. They sent Smoothie on multiple roams. I don't think I've seen Smoothie roam that much, especially up to the top side, for the entire year, basically. And Cloud9 came up with the game plan, and they executed it, which is the important part.
Not a level 3 roam strat on a Braum, on a Karma, on his normal champion pool, but certainly something Alistar can do. Took the Ignite, just like Mata, wanted to dodge lane, and got that advantage for impact.
All right, gentlemen, well, our job is done here for the day. Right now, we're going to pass it off to Shox, who's standing by with Cloud9's top laner.
Thank you very much, Riv. Indeed, standing by with impact after the second win in a row for C9 here. I know that you guys yesterday weren't really happy with the way you won. How do you reflect on your performance today?
그 어제 승리 이후에는 비록 이기셨지만 살짝 찝찝한 마음이 있다고 들었는데 오늘 승리에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
오늘 I think today is good, right? Because we problem is I'm died so many, but just my mistake is team we move is macro is we object control everything. I think it's not I can't say good, but I think not bad today. So we 발전하고 있다고.
We're still improving.
Yeah.
Impact, the all-important question, how many times did you say top die today?
탑다일 몇 번 외치셨나요?
I did today. I didn't say. I'm just say white dive enemy and kill. And nice.
I can see that. Impact, I know that the game versus SKT was very important for you personally, but you guys really didn't get to show that much. What do you hope to prove in your rematch against them next week?
그 이번 주 SKT와 1경기 했을 때 정말 중요한 일전이었을 텐데 비록 아쉽게 패배했지만 다음 주에 있을 그 재대결에서는 어떻게 준비하실 생각이신가요?
I think we first match here with SKT. We problem is ban pick. We give up Shindra and we give up just mid pressure. So Jensen is hard to play game. But I think we next week we pick is ban pick, and I think we show is good play.
Some changes to the ban pick, and we'll see a more competitive game versus SKT. Thank you very much, Impact. Congratulations, C9, second win in a row here at Worlds Dash. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sharks. And I mean, we're standing here just flabbergasted at the day, but C9 here showing up, making all of the groups interesting at the end of the day. Let's try and dive into this one. Once again, I mean, we do get the Syndra secured for Jensen. He went kind of monstrous on it, at least in terms of a CS number, crested that 200 mark by 18 minutes. I mean, that's insanity in and of itself.
I mean, the champion is S tier for a good reason right now. Into the Vladimir, you still have pressure the entire time. Vlad just wants to survive, get to the late game, and try to outpace in the team fights. But C9 just managed to win top lane with a good roam, bot lane with a gank, and then just all business from there.
And we saw a different Jensen today than we saw on day one of the group stage. It was back to the skill shot dodging madman we saw in North America, where he trusts his ability to get out of difficult situations. And when he dodged every single Jin bullet, yes, he popped Ghost, or when he flashed away from the Rex side to avoid the early gank, those are vintage Jensen moves from when he's a dominant NA mid laner.
And I think this shows exactly how good Cloud9 can be when they're confident in their individual play, because then it trickles over into the map play, and you see how methodical they can close games out. And even in some team fights, you're like, oh, this is about to go a little bit wrong, but it's like, oh, Impact still has Equalizer. He didn't burn it earlier. They're able to siege down the mid lane turret. So I really do think that a calm, composed Cloud9, when they are playing very good individually, actually makes them scarier as a macro team, because they play with much more, I guess, priority and enthusiasm at that stage of the game.
And if we're talking about individual play, we got to take a look at the 10-minute replay. 2-for-1 Impact in the top lane. This was, it wasn't top die, it was wide dive.
And this is one of the weaknesses, I would say, of the LPL region, is that if they fall behind, they try and make desperation plays. And flashing underneath a turret of a Rumble with Summoner Spell and Equalizer is definitely a desperation play, and Impact is good enough to make them pay for it.
Yeah, this is the second time today we saw top laners get kills in 1v2 situations. Just a wacky day, but I totally agree with you. An overextension by Aimee and a great play by Impact.
Those are huge damage numbers across the board.
Well, I think this is what happens when you kind of draft like this. A lot of damage threats against a lot of tanks on Aimee. And Aimee is like a grinding team. They want to get nice and tanky. They want to take you to 50 minutes, and they want to grind you down till you make that mistake. But credit to Cloud9, because they were way too good for that. The mistake was just never forthcoming.
Yeah, and as Impact had mentioned, you know, he wasn't very happy with the macro. He was saying, it wasn't good, it was not bad. But as a game, for contrasting what we saw yesterday, especially as establishing dominance over Aimee and making sure that the top contenders for the group would be SKT, Flash Wolves, and themselves, I think this is a really nice showing for them that should give them the confidence that will allow them to really showcase what they say is like 80% of how as good as what TSM can be.
And Jat, talk to me about this player of the game. It's going to go to Smoothie on that Alistar this time around.
Yeah, Smoothie had so many good plays in the early game, and he was the one that really kicked off most of the lane advantages. Really crisp flash plays as far as his pulverize are going. And we've seen Alistar roams in the early game be really pivotal in this tournament. Smoothie was no different. He pulled it off exceptional.
And hats off to Reapit, because if any team is going to leave their AD carry one-on-one, it's going to be Aimee, and recognizing that therefore you can pick up maybe a weaker laner, but a great roaming support like the Alistar, and Smoothie played it incredibly well. But I think that that is a tendency that, you know, is easily executed against Aimee, because they're not going to punish you for it.
All right, now let's talk about this group as a whole. We've got C9 and SKT now tied at the top 2-1. Aimee and
Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves, there you go, at the bottom 1 and 2. going into next week, what do you make of this group? Who's going to have it? Or what kind of adjustments do you want to see made?
The only team that I don't think is really showing a lot right now is IMA. I'm not very impressed by their ability to just lane regularly and make actual outstanding, hey, this is a play that we're going to make and make a comeback. The only time was against the Flash was unable to really close out a game, which, to be honest, they kind of defeated themselves. But everyone else seems like it's up for grabs.
Yeah, I think it's very up for grabs as far as it goes. I still feel like there's a small amount of logic we can use for the madness that's been in this group. SKT still looked the strongest throughout all 3 of their games there, 2-1. It's actually a group that's lining up for the pick'em that I had. We had SKT, C9, then Flash was in 3rd, and IMA in 4th.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, just to throw a little bit of a spark onto the IMA fire, is this is a place they've been so often, and they've always come back and win. I don't think they're going to do it this time, but hey, I thought Team WE was going to be at Worlds as well, so who the heck knows what's going to happen.
All right, well, as we reach the end of our first week of Worlds 2016, let's review the razor-close standings in each group. In Group A, Albus, Nox, Luna, Counter Logic Gaming, and the Rocks Tigers all have 2-1 records. Group B's leaders are SKT and Cloud9. Edward Gaming and AHQ Esports Club hold the lead in Group C, and Group D has 3 teams with 2-1 records. Again, no team has gone without a loss so far. Now the action continues here in San Francisco on Thursday for the final week of group stage matches. On Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, G2 Esports and Rocks Tigers take to the stage, followed by 5 more Group A matches. Group C is decided on Friday, Group D plays on Saturday, and Group B plays on Sunday. And if any ties remain after each group's scheduled matches, we'll play them out immediately following that day's games.
And 6-3 for North America, Chad. That has never happened before.
Man,
Surely,
I
say it ain't
clearly
so.
can't remember that did not happen in 2015. It did. And it was 6-3 last year in 2015. And then they lost more games than were scheduled for the next week. They went 0-10. So hopefully we can see some improvement. I'm super happy that NA was able to do the 6-3 again this way, and I think a much more controlled fashion with some more impressive victories. So they also remember 0-10. I think it's hard to forget something like that, and I don't think it's going to happen again.
While I'm happy that NA has actually gotten on the board, I'm really stoked to see that Korea is not just bleeding. They feel pretty bruised right now. They have been taken down. They have been really shown the ropes about the global meta and exactly what it means to try to play against these other regions and understand the priorities that other guys have and how they play the game, and they paid for it dearly.
And there are a couple of regions that we had big question marks. LPL and the macro play, whilst they don't look very clean at the moment, you can see that at least they can battle, well, EDG at least, on some level of that. They do need to pick it up for week 2. But I think it's the wildcard regions and, the CBLOL and LCL, respectively, that have really come out this week and surprised people because their gameplay, especially when the game gets delayed, has been impressive because they've been able to close team out and stick to their game plans. And that's good discipline play out of very new teams.
Yeah, and the other thing I can't wait for as far as the next week of group stage goes is the format changes quite a bit, actually. Every team will now play 3 games on the day, and it's much more like playing a series, even though you're against different teams. You have to make rapid iteration instead of having a day or 2 to try and read things. Not to mention, everyone was hiding their strategies in secret. This week, we got to see them all out on the stage. So there are a lot more tweaks you can make in the week off, and the results could actually completely change.
Yeah, and to add to that, the cool thing is the fact that you actually get to change your own little meta by games of other people that are playing. Just based on, let's say that you're CLG playing against Rocks and you see G2 against Albus Nox, whatever they're playing, you're going to implement that into your own play style as well and try to develop that own little meta, even though it's not your own game. And I think that's such a cool element to see in these best of ones.
I mean, a lot of information surfaced here over the last 4 days. Dare I say the most exciting Worlds group stage week 1 yet?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like,
all right, I got permission to say it, so that's what I'm going to say. That's going to do it for week 1 of the 2016 Worlds Group Stage here at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. But stay tuned because Shox, Kobe, and Atlas will recap the day's action in an all-new Worlds tonight. Now for myself, the casters, the analysts, and the entire live production crew, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week as the fight for the Summoners Cup continues.
There's only 2 options when